mayor is not here today.
I'll second that.
All right, does this call for a roll call vote? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and when do I vote and when don't I vote? Yes. Okay,
Oh, this is.
you what? I know, but that's why I was confused. Now you've all made me, I was totally confident and then they made me all nervous. Okay, all right. We'll call to order Payson City Council meeting for July 20th, 2022. And the time is 6:01 p.m. We have the privilege of having some of our Payson royalty do our prayer and pledge today. So we'll have the prayer by Savannah Torres and then the pledge by Maddie Hill. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving on to the consent agenda, needing approval of the July 6, 2020 City Council meetings, as well as the resolution for Pace Industrial Park Annexation Agreement has been requested that it be tabled. It is not ready at this time. And I will accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda. And I'll second it. And you have to table.
Except,
Oh, and we're gonna table number 2 resolution, with Pace Industrial Park annexation. I'll second it.
All right, all in favor? And
Yes.
Roll call.
it's not required that way, though.
Yes. This one's not
Was that
required. Oh, that's
An
right.
all affirmative yes on my part.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we have some petitions for an introduction of Miss Payson royalty by Mrs. Crouch.
Renee.
Renee, I'm sorry. I was going over it 20 times in my head and I could not come up with it. I
Renee, come up
apologize.
to the microphone so it can be recorded better.
I'm Renee Crouch. I'm on the board for the Miss Payson Scholarship Pageant. And first of all, we would just like to thank the mayor, and he's not here, and the council for the support that you have given the pageant and the scholarship the last couple of years. We have really appreciated it, and it has been very, very helpful, if I can just say that myself. I know from years past. We had a very successful pageant, and we have 5 beautiful girls that are willing to work hard and to support our city at this time. And I'm going to let them each come out and introduce themselves and tell us your title and where they're going to school and whatever else they want to say. It's yours, guys. Come on. Yep, you go first.
Okay.
And then you probably want to stay up here because we'll probably take a picture.
Okay, sounds good. All right, I am Maddie Hill. I'm Miss Payson 2022. I am going to be attending school at Acadia School of Aesthetics in the fall, and my platform was autism and disability awareness, and I named it You've Got a Friend in Me. So yes. Anything else?
Great.
I'm Savannah Torres. I'm the first attendant, and I will be going to school in Southern Virginia to cheer. So. I am Madison Heaton, and I'm going to UVU's nursing school this fall.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Malloy. I'm an attendant and I will be going to Payson High School as a senior.
Yay.
Hi, I'm Jamie Uribe. I'm also an attendant. I will be going to the University of Utah on a full ride scholarship to study criminology.
There you go, Brad.
You need a picture with them?
I would like to present this trophy to our city. We won it in the 4th of July parade at Provo for the most, what did it say? Grand Marshal Award, most creative design on our.
Yay.
So-
For that.
Come and let you buy.
We don't have to do the spotlight.
Pulling the float this Monday. You are, when and where?
April will send you that information. I got to use April. She's at the 2 o'clock.
Okay.
She will send the information to you.
Ready? One, two, three. Thanks.
Who's missing one?
We're
Missing last time, now we're missing the mayor. Congratulations. Thank you. Appreciate what you do. And the representation. That's-
Congratulations, you guys. Maddie Hilbert.
She's a good woman. I'll take that as a compliment. I mean, I'm still pretty little.
But you're older. Thank you. Good to have the thorns behind the roses, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You what?
Well, I saw something.
That was a good save, Brett.
Yes, you're welcome, Bob. All right, moving on to petition number 2 for public forum. This is anyone can speak on any item not on the agenda. Keep your time to 3 minutes or less if needed. And I'll also present the chamber with some time to present the business of the month during this as well. So do we want to start? Let's start with that, and then we'll move on to the other.
Good evening. It looks like our business of the month isn't here, but I'll kind of announce it for them. And, sorry, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay. You don't look like, you don't look,
Was it? That's disappointing.
yeah, you don't look,
Couldn't be here, so.
Okay.
I'm the general manager of resource.
okay, what's your name?
Ben.
Ben, okay, great. Okay, so we're at the business,
Payson store today.
yeah, we're at the Payson store at lunchtime and kind of re-announce their business of the month. And I love their bio. It's kind of a sense of humor. And they took over from Big O Tires in that location. And I love it. Love their bio, a bit of sense of humor. It says, in 2020, Gabe and Dunn and Jesse Parent put their monstrous head weight together and deduced they could simply do it better without big corporate America meddling in their neighborhood affairs. As such, they went forth with the tenacity of a Girl Scout selling cookies and shared their vision with wonderful people of Utah County. What has transpired since this creation and domination of 3 award-winning locations in Payson, American Fork, and Price, with the single most important goal in place to be helpful. The Tire Busters Supreme Auto Care truly cares about their people and the neighborhoods in which we serve. We are diamond sponsors for both Santa Quinn Orchard Days and Payson Onion Days. And we look forward to opportunities to give to the wonderful people that have stood with us in recent years, which just proves we are passionate about orchards, onions, and people. And so I'm just getting to know them, and then we'll present that. Would you like to say something quick before we? Yeah.
Absolutely. Like to say thank you guys for supporting us, especially in the change and everything. So, and to continue support with us, it's really awesome for us. And we just want to continue to grow and, be a big part of the community. So.
And then we'll have a photo with the city council in a minute, but I just want to, two things that we got coming up for the chamber is we doing a pancake breakfast at Orchard Days this Saturday. In the morning, it starts at 7 to 9. And then we're also starting an ice cream selling ice creams. We're going to be at Payson Onion Days as well, and also Orchard Days. Okay. All right.
Are you feeling like you're out of yourself? North side. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Took a minute. Well, we're finally finishing up. I just.
Where at? Soft shoulders. Well, some of those holes are probably compaction tested. They core a hole. They have to get a compaction test. Nope. Nope, you don't need it.
Nobody else wants to say anything for the public forum?
He's waiting for the invite.
Mayor Pro Tem, this is kind of weird. Like when I show up and Brett Christensen's the mayor, I know things have gone. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
And it's July, so it's not freezing over.
Right.
Just
No,
burning up is what we're doing.
What's No, Mayor and Council, I actually come here wearing two hats. The first hat I'm wearing is I was just elected to be on the Scottish Festival, Payson Scottish Festival Board. And we'd like to just report back and thank you for your support. I don't know if you saw the Payson Chronicle here, full page paper. The people attending agree, festival's never been better. And the festival was just big. We appreciated all of you coming out to the Scottish Festival. It's good to see everybody there and really appreciate your support. Just some side notes here. We had 15 food vendors, 37 non-food vendors. We had 27 clans show up, 13 bands. We had an increase in 30 soloists from previous years. On our athletic side, we had 14 field records that were broken, including several state records that were broken in the athletics. If you've never seen the athletics where they're tossing those cavers and throwing the hammers, and it's crazy. Let's see, we had dancers. I mean, it was just crazy. Awesome. Get some real numbers for you, because when I was on city council, one of the things was like, how do we quantify this? We guesstimate that there was at least 20,000 people over the 2 days that were there. A couple of years ago, we actually counted. We stopped at 2 o'clock and divided the park into 10 parts, and everybody was responsible for counting every people in the park at that time, which is kind of a weird way to do it. But when you don't have ticket, you don't have a gate, then that's how you do it. And we had about 4,500 people at that 1 hour at that time of day. And so you can kind of extrapolate that out over the 2 days. It's a good investment for Payson City money. We talked about spending money on billboards and things like that. This is a good partnership. I consider the Scottish Festival to be 2A or 2B for the crown jewel in Payson events. So number one, obviously, is Onion Days. And then depending on how you measure the Salmon Supper and Scottish Festival, I think they're right there with each other for different reasons. So anyway, we also want to thank our law enforcement for all their work, all their help with us. Wes with the parks and the park crew, he's worth his weight in gold. I got to tell you, that man, just as a resident, as a council member, and is on the Scottish Festival, that park is beautiful, and he just goes above and beyond. Thank you for Janine Dean for her help in planning. We couldn't do it without Janine, and so we appreciate her work. One other thing on the Scottish Festival, Random Acts was there with BYU. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They had a special guest there. They took her around, and they want to come back next year. They love the park. They talked about it. They talked about Payson, but they were able to give away a free trip to Scotland for a lady that was their guest, and it was great, and they just loved it. And that will air in October. End of October. So Payson will be featured on Random Acts as well as the individual there. So it was wonderful. So thank you.
And he didn't say anything about the weird lady that came up and called him a celebrity,
Oh,
which was me.
was it you?
Yeah.
I think he said very intelligent,
No.
intimidating.
Intimidating.
Yes, yes. The
Did,
flower of Payson, I think is what he said.
did the mayor talk to you about getting together with the planners and the
Yes.
council?
Yep.
and-
So we look forward to having a debriefing with.
Yeah,
with
while it
the-
was fresh on everybody's
Yep,
mind.
yep. We had a quick debrief with the Scottish Festival, and I know that Payson City's done that, so we'll get together and I think we need to like kind of normalize some checklists and some things like
Yes.
that on who does what, and particularly when we have like leadership changeover. So the Scottish Festival's got new leadership and council's changes. We've had 2 new members that have joined us, and
That's because we had people jump ship.
I know when sewer rates are going up. Just kidding. Just kidding. Switching hats, from the legislative side, just some side issues. I'm working on some bills that deal with just 3 bills that I'm working on that might affect cities that I'm working with the League of Cities and Towns. One is just a water transparency bill regarding golf courses. It's not like to step in or meddle. It's just a transparency so people can see and where we have so many water concerns throughout the state and as hot as it's been, that's a big concern. And mine is pretty mild compared to like the ones that I've heard that are on the table. So just be aware that there are some of those bills coming down. Continue recycling with recycling transparency. We've got where the recycling material is dumped. We want to expand that to say, what does the waste of each particular city look like? In other words, how much is getting kicked back to a landfill because it's been spoiled? So like if you leave the lid open on your recycling can, all your cardboards and stuff deteriorate and they can't accept it into recycling. So eventually gets kicked back to a regular landfill. For those who are wondering, 100% of our recycling does go to the recycling plants. So when people call, and I know that they ask, I got those questions all the time. It all goes to recycling plant, but then if it's tainted too much food on it or whatever, then it does get kicked back to a landfill. Not ours usually because they have others, but anyway. And then the last one is like a land immunity bill. This is more for like areas like Forebay. So like if somebody's bicycling on our trails up there and they get in an accident, it always seemed common sense to me that you take those risks when you go out into those areas. But there's been some lawsuits recently, and so we're looking and working on some of those issues to protect cities in areas specifically that are kind of undeveloped but somewhat developed because there is a trail there from immunity on that. So any other questions? And then of course we're continuing to work on roads for Payson and Santa Quinn in particular, having some good talks and movement there. So
Well, thank you. We appreciate all you do, and you have been a great asset to us on the Hill, both as an educator and as a Payson City resident. So thank you, Doug.
Legislator.
Thanks, Doug.
Yes.
You said educator. He
No.
takes that
You
hat off.
said both.
No, I said both.
Oh,
I said you've been doing great things on the Hill. But
I try to do both, but
yeah,
thank you. I appreciate all that you do. You guys do fantastic work.
thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Hi, my name's Paul Gardner. I recently acquired a piece of property right off of Main Street. It's a little office building. It's under 1,000 square feet, and I'm proposing a project that I might need some guidance on. I'm wanting to put an apartment or a condo above it. And the problem that I'm running into is parking. And it's right off of Main Street. And literally right across the street from the office, there's about 40 parking stalls at least that are public parking. And And the main floor is going to be office space and the upper will be residential living. So I'm thinking we have 2 stalls right now, but it's only going to be used probably during the evenings. The office will be used during the days. I'm wondering if there was some leniency I could get on possibly some of the parking for that, so I can develop that ground. If you have any ideas or.
Where's it at?
It's actually 41 West, 100 South. So it's just barely off of Main Street. I think there's a hair cutting place right on Main Street, right next door.
Yeah, it's just west of Sophisticates, that little building that, what's the thing?
Oh, the Finch building used to be in,
Yeah,
Oh, right there in the corner,
not the corner of it, right?
but the one that's right next.
right to the west of it.
I think Finch's might have had their business in there, environmental business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They did.
That little building.
And there are 2 parking stalls behind it, which would cover the office itself. But if I do the residents, I'd have to, and honestly, what will end up happening is the residents will be in the carport behind it. And the people that are there working during the day will probably use parking in the street or public parking across the street. But zoning won't allow me to develop that unless there's some kind of allowance there or some kind of a.
Have you been to the zoning department,
I have.
building
I have.
department?
And that's why I'm here. I was hoping I can get maybe
Is
some
that up
leniency.
to
on
that-
some-
to the, oh no, I think there's a house there. I was thinking behind that church, but it's. that's-
And there's not enough land to put more parking behind it.
There isn't. It's actually occupied. It's a residence behind it. So I only have 2 stalls. I did talk to one of the business owners. It's about a block and a half away. And he said he'd be more than willing to let someone stay there overnight parking in his parking lot if necessary. But I don't know if how convenient that would be for someone. So
It'd have to be like a work session, kind of a conversation with planning and zoning and look at it and kind of lay it all out and see what the problems are and where we're at. It's kind of the push for down there is what we're trying to aim for with everything. So it's not outside of the scope. It's just a matter of making sure we can get enough land
yeah,
appropriated to it.
there is quite a bit of parking right literally across the street. You could
Yeah.
play a football game across the street, but it's all city parking.
Right. And that's all, we're gonna revamp all of that
Are
and
you?
yeah, and change all of that as our revitalization for downtown. And so the parking situations down there will change. The Main Street parking will change and things, but we can look at it and see where we're at and something, but we'd have to have a conversation with planning and zoning on that one. But
We will take it under advisement and
yeah.
move it from the ticker where it's sitting. So, yeah.
I've got an architect that's waiting with a sharpened pencil, so I don't want to tell him to go if there's an issue. So
Yeah.
I'll get.
You don't want to waste the money on it. And at the same time, we'd love to see a conceptualized plan. Sketches are okay at this point in time. If we could look at it and see what you're really looking at,
Okay.
where we're at, go from
Just
there.
not on a napkin. Brett has a tendency to drip
Yeah.
on it.
Does that approve that type of paper?
No.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you.
If you go,
So it faces north.
you go Payson Pizza Place, it's south of there. It's between there and the church, behind the, used to be Olson's Garden Shop.
Right on the corner.
That to the west of it.
Okay. If you go west 1. You're there.
We have to go back a few years when we describe things. Go ahead. Thank you.
My name's James. I'm a new resident here in Payson. I live at the Spring Creek New Development. Senior. I just got a goofy last name. Salisbury Homes Division or whatever. Never been to one of these, so I'm out of my element. So forgive me if I'm a little jittery.
I can relate.
Relax. You're among friends.
That's good. I guess I got a long-winded question. So in that neighborhood, as you know, bigger families, trucks, RVs, lots of cars, rentals underneath, and the city has a what's the rule?
Ordinance.
Law, whatever. No street parking throughout the whole winter, 3 months worth. And usually in the last couple of winters we've only had a couple of good snowfalls. And as you know, the plow guys, they go right down the middle. They don't necessarily plow the curbs. And in that particular neighborhood, the streets are nice and wide. I appreciate that. Nice wider streets. And we do have a lot of families with multiple cars and trailers and stuff. It's a bit of an inconvenience to always be parking in driveways and whatnot when the plows are only doing it, a few days out of the winter. So my long-winded question, and everybody in the neighborhood doesn't like it, by the way. My long-winded question is, what would you guys need from me or us to either get that rule changed, ordinance changed, or zoned, or like, what would you need for me to kind of reevaluate that?
You're not the first one to bring this to us. We have this conversation every fall. And we've talked about changing it so that it was only 24 hours prior to a snowstorm or so many hours after. And we've looked at it and comes back and forth, but we could have our legal look at that again and see. The problem is becomes a liability for the city.
Cars, yeah.
If we hit the car with our snowplow, that's where we kind of, it puts us in a bad spot, or we kick snow up, we break a window, hitting a rock, things like that. That's why we've forced them off of there.
Can we find some drivers that won't hit the cars?
Well, that's easier said than done. And yeah, that's really
I'm
hard.
sure there's plenty of country guys out here used to tractors.
But as a kid, we always thought it was funny. Every time it'd snow, we'd go to my buddy's house and put the manhole cover back on because the snowplow would clip it and shoot it clear across the road.
Wow.
Just because it was just the right height. And so it was kind of you never know what you're going to hit under the snow. And that's the tricky part. So
There's a few families in our neighborhood, myself included, that like I built a mother-in-law basement and I rent out the basement, and I specifically bought a corner lot so that they could have street parking and I can park in my own driveway. And I'm not the only family in the neighborhood that kind of rents out a basement, a mother-in-law. It just makes things a little tricky in the winter. We're kind of sharing the garage or sharing the driveway.
To get past that point. So
Put a driveway, like, to that place.
The driveway to that
You'd
place.
have to
On the
take your,
corner, so which way is?
Coming out the
take the
backyard.
grass out and put driveway in, parking stall and,
Hypothetically, yeah.
okay.
I'm kind of the bad guy here.
Nice.
Having dealt with a couple lawsuits from the city side, if we allow it there because a wider street, then we'll have citizens from all over the quadrant of town. And it makes it too hard for the police to enforce it in one area and turn a blind eye to it in another area. I also am sympathetic to the truck drivers that we do have that plow the snow. They're already nervous enough plowing
No, I
with
get it.
little kids and
Slick
what
roads.
have you. And so I'm the bad horse here when I say I wouldn't favor allowing even a 24-hour notice, because we tried that in the 90s and it got abused. We gave it, 24 hours for a storm. If storm's coming, well,
'Cause I know the city does the little text message notification thing sometimes. I don't know if we can get those. Hey, storm's coming, get off the roads. I don't know if you got. mass
I
texts for everybody.
just wouldn't favor in any way, shape or form the 3-month period. I'm sure there's another solution that we can help find, but I wouldn't favor changing the ordinance or the law in that particular area, because we would have citizens from all over town coming wanting the same.
Just tell them to move in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Your neighborhood pretty much sold out.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
I think the farm plot just south of us, I think I heard rumors that they sold and they might be developing that too.
That's not a rumor. That's fact.
Okay. Okay. So
All the way
yeah.
up to the pond. So
So like I said, long-winded question. He's not in favor. Like, I'm not the only person that's ever said this. What would you need from me? Like, to get 200 signatures, or like, what do you need to look at that
It's,
somehow?
just kind of what's been passed in the.
yeah, I don't know. That would be,
Passed it.
I'm going to defer that to legal.
Thank you.
So essentially, these are done, we have to protect the citizenry based upon the whole citizenry. We don't single out this person or this person or this person or neighborhood. We can't. By law, it's called equal protection of the law. So what we do is we protect as best we can those, not only our drivers, but as far as liability standpoint, you guys hit it on the head.
Yeah.
Liability for hitting cars with snowplow blades or that kind of stuff. The idea is the clean street. If I'm the driver, I don't have to worry about, am I too close to this car? It may or may not be stuff underneath the snow. It may simply just be that car is sticking out too far. And if it does, I could clip it. And so I can't plow right. And then we get the complaints of, and the potential liability is that if we don't completely, or we do not clean that street well enough, then what happens to the Honda Accord that can't get out of its driveway because the snow's too deep, right off the shoulder or something? That does happen occasionally. We plow as best we can, and we ask that those streets be clear so that we can plow them without any obstructions. If we start allowing obstructions, and you mentioned it, Bob, that a 24 hours timeframes don't really work really well, because storms don't follow timeframes. They follow whenever they're going to show up at any time, any place. And it could be one neighborhood actually gets the snow and the rest of the city does not. I mean, as climate changes a little bit, we see a little bit weirder weather every year, and we're going to continue to see it. So he's right. I mean, we only maybe are going to get a few storms a season anymore, but it nevertheless, so those few storms, we need those streets clean. And I would recommend that we just, police department streets can maybe look at the issue again, but I don't know that it's.
Well, we've looked at and discussed it with their police officers to have it's only citable if there's snow on the ground or whatever, but that's their busy time because they're dealing with accidents and stuff like that. And so it becomes a burden to get them in and out.
And you can ask,
kinda-
Brad. I mean, it's generally speaking, I most of the time of the year or the winter, they're not citing very often for those kind of violations. They're citing for the other parking violations that are going on. Keep in mind, the rest of the parking on streets applies all of the year, and that's parking the right way, parking with a registered vehicle on the street, those kind of things. And we get plenty of violations of those throughout the year. It's just another thing to help our drivers so that they don't damage or hit anybody else's cars.
Right. And it's only in the evenings, correct? It's from 11 to 6 or something like that. It's at night when the cars need a place to park. So, so in answer to your question, it's definitely a tough one. It's a two-edged sword, and it's been thought over and worked over, and it does become an issue. And I know that as a city, we've tried harder to make sure that there's adequate parking in homes, new construction driveways are now, we've set the driveways back deeper, require them to have a garage, things like that. But the existing homes that don't have that have become part of the issue. So, yeah, and they're kind of stuck.
What's that?
If you take a 5 or 6 bedroom house and you split it in half, and you can get 5 or 6
Some of
cars in a
them
real
were-
quick
no,
hurry.
Not all, because it was a planned unit development. So setbacks would be different,
Then
or could have been different.
What's your setback?
On
what's
your
my
drive,
setback?
From the road?
on your driveway,
1 car space in the driveway. Is that what
Probably
you mean?
15,
Yeah,
20 feet.
It's not too far. I can't double them
But you
up.
don't
Yeah.
have 25 feet from your.
I
garage.
haven't measured my driveway, but I
Yeah.
can get 1 car between the sidewalk and my garage.
I guess
That's
the
what
other
you're
one that
asking.
I would be concerned about is a fire truck or the
Emergency
paramedics.
response.
Yeah,
Yeah.
emergency responders. That if we allowed that and the snowplow couldn't get through to where he could get it clear enough, then we've got another risk management problem with not getting first responders and fire trucks. Those fire trucks, believe it or not, they get stuck real easy just on regular roads because of slick. Am I right, Scott? So,
So like in my little world, I got 3 vehicles. If I rent it to a family in the basement and they got 2, next thing I didn't get a 3-car garage. I ain't got it like that. So one side of the garage filled with my 65 Impala, so I ain't got that much space. So-
I think the first thing I'd say is if you rent your basement, are you legally renting your basement
Correct.
with the approved parking stalls that are required for an additional unit?
Yes, because I believe it's two, right?
It's 2 per upstairs and 2 per downstairs.
Correct. So I have my truck on the side of the garage,
Okay,
Impala in the garage. And what I did with this last family, we shared the garage, shared the driveway. So we had 5 vehicles off the road
Right.
when we had to. And I guess the back half of this question is, if it's the middle of January and it's been sunny for 2 weeks, how much is the police enforcing overnight parking in the street? I'm not out there watching it. I just don't know if they go hard with
They
it.
usually give a warning or two, don't you, Brad?
Like they said, if it's snowing, we missed our opportunity to get the cars off the road. Public Works will call me and say, I got 900 vehicles that need to move right now.
Yeah.
So it's just counterproductive for us to.
Wait till the
just let
storm.
Everybody park there.
Yeah.
We don't have time for 900 cars.
So
Our street superintendent calls, says, we can't plow this road. It makes sense for us to have that 3-month window and have the roads cleared. I don't see convenience, but it's just necessary to keep everything moving smoothly.
I think the consensus is, and about all that we can do is say that we're very sympathetic of your plight and the problems that you face, but we don't, as a city council, know how to solve that problem and cover everything. So that's why it's been left the way that it is. So
Okay.
I apologize.
If I can come up with a solution, come back another
You,
Wednesday.
come up
you
with a
can try that.
solution.
Yeah.
bring it on.
I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed, but I can figure something out.
I give them my ideas all the time, and the engineering department just shakes their head at me constantly nowadays. So
They're always
But-
shooting you down.
yeah, they're always shooting me down, but it doesn't hurt to share. So
Okay. I
All right.
appreciate your time.
thank you. Do we have anybody else online in the audience who'd like to share during open forum, public forum?
So the same place where he's at, the problem we've had. Well, I know you guys know where it's at. People are starting to use the dead ends as their personal storage with boats and RVs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I noticed that at Wakara Park as well. Wakara Park, I went in there. I was the only one in the park and there was no place to park.
Yeah.
We just leave that up to Brad and the
So
ordinances
that's
to,
why you
to
were
address.
correct. So I wanted to make you aware of that, because I was made aware last night.
Well, Wakara Park's on the other side, so we're good. It's way west. All right. Staff reports. We have anybody that'd like to? Janine, she loves to give staff reports.
Just for you, Travis. All right, I'm just inviting you to the Western Heritage Festival, which is July 30th. So not this Friday, but next Friday. And we have some great entertainment. The evening will start actually with our mayor, Frontier Marshals. And then we have a group of singers that's coming that sings individually and then they sing together too. All of them have been to Nashville. And so they really put on a great show. And then we'll end with a concert the last hour. So it's 5 to 9 p.m. And then we have some fun activities for the kids. So we have milking a cow. You have to come and watch this. I'm not going to say. Panning for gold, milking a cow. And then, what is it called? Teresa, where the horses go around the poles, pole bending. And then we'll have a few food trucks. So it'll be a really fun evening. So I hope you'll come and support. Yep, at the Memorial Park. Yep, July 30th.
5 to 9.
5 to 9. Okay, thank you.
One thing I have while we're on events is the National Night. I guess that's migrating downwards. Okay. National Night Out is on August 2nd from 6 till 8:30 at the Petite Neat. That's where we do like a public safety give back event. We have the fire, ambulance, police, air med or life flight land there in the park. So just want to invite everyone out.
What time?
6 till
August 2nd.
August 2nd is a Thursday, I believe. Yeah.
6 to what?
6 to 8:30.
Isn't August 1st Monday?
Sorry, August 2nd.
So
Is it a Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first is a Monday.
Okay, I lied. It's the 2nd.
It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. Yes. Tuesday, Thursday, they're all the same to me. Anyway, that's all I have.
If people show up on Thursday, you're not there.
I'm here every day. It don't matter.
Mayor Pro Tem and council members, just let you know, this is our last stint for the fireworks. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and we'll be done. And we love fireworks, especially the aerials that never stop all night long. We do have crews out patrolling, and we have pretty good enforcement, but we still have some that choose to go to Wyoming and buy the fireworks that are not safe. Everything we have selling in the state of Utah is safe and sane. So we had one family that spent about $3,000, and by the time we got there, we still got about $1,000 worth from them. So I felt bad for them, but they can't have them. With fire restrictions, we haven't done any fire restrictions other than the fireworks. With the moisture we've been receiving, I think we're standing pretty good. The state forester has restricted everything in the unincorporated areas of the state of Utah. So that's in place, but the Forest Service has no plans at this point to do any restrictions at this point. And so we usually follow suit with them at the Canyon Park and everything. So their scale that they use, they have to get to a 4 before they do any restrictions. They're only at a 2. So I don't know that we'll see any for a month or so if they even do that. But we have had a couple of fires that we've responded to again in Pine Forest, and people don't realize the duff, all the pine needles and everything that accrue there. After their fires, they usually leave them. They don't put them out, and that can go several feet or 100 feet and then pop up somewhere else. And so if we get called there, we do just extinguish the fires. So, but stays busy as usual. So sometimes we have people that just don't use common sense. So we try and help them out. Thanks. Exactly. Thank you.
I have another question. Do we own that property out by I thought we did, out by the bowling alley? As you come and turn. That's
Oh,
got
the
all those
corner
great big
lot.
thistles. Yeah, didn't we buy that from Taylor?
We own some of that property. I'm not sure I'm aware of exactly. You can look.
It's like the thistles there are
Just when you turn
bad.
left.
Yeah, like it's on the west side of the road. And if you go look there, like they're everywhere. I just had somebody call me and say, please get those knocked down.
I've had them call me too, Teresa.
Thank you. Any other staff reports? Teresa, did you want to do you're good?
I pretty much said what I need to say.
All
I'm
right.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Councilman Prosgard, did-
Hey, I just wanted to ask, where we at on the dredging of Spring Lake? Any update, Dave?
No, it was getting postponed, so we postponed them. We need to get that, the pumps finished.
Okay,
And they should be starting. It's been a supply issue. We can't get some of the parts.
so are we still planning on doing it this year?
We're probably gonna do it either later in the fall or next spring.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right. Councilman Beecher.
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay. Councilwoman Carter. Because I saved the best for last.
I just have just a couple of things. I noticed that the signs were up for the yard of the month. How long have they been up there to the folks by the cemetery? The sign.
Just right after
And when are
council.
we going to move it to the family right here?
They've got one on their corner.
Oh,
They
you,
have them too.
oh,
Yeah.
you did, ended up doing two.
There's two.
Okay, thank
They're
you.
right on the corner.
Great, great. Yeah, that looked good. I noticed that we've had a lot of people, well, not a lot, but several that have wanted to nominate Yards of the Month. So,
Good.
and thank you to this gentleman that helped me with my maps so that I could find the one that I read today. I don't know where Canyon Cove Drive is, but anyway.
Google Maps.
I know.
I don't
know.
trust that. You should have seen where it sent me when I went to Duchesne.
I had deleted it and couldn't find it.
So I helped her.
So he helped me instead of being a smart aleck about it. You get what you deserve.
Yes, yes.
Another thing, I think you've all noticed on Facebook, some of the comments, a lot of people are worried about prices and everything, and you wish you could comment to them, but it's going to be hard for the next while. I'd like a report on our water. Can anybody do that?
Does it
How
still run
is our
downhill?
water up the canyon? And
We have not been using the lakes, so we're doing good there.
good. I have a lot of people that ask, and it's nice to be updated.
Yeah,
every now and
we're
then.
fine on our Highline water. We're not even close to using what we could, so.
Good.
People are conserving. I worry about that, then that might mean our revenues are way down, so we'll see how that goes, but. Yeah, with Canyon, we're not using it. We're trying to just leave it alone. I think we used it one day when we had an issue with the ponds, like Highline had accidentally shut us off, and so we had to use it, but. Other than that, we haven't even touched the lakes.
Good.
Good.
Doing pretty good.
Thank you.
Leave 'em
That's
alone.
all I
Yeah,
need.
I think, Doug, does that answer your question you had about why there was water in the creeks that normally didn't have water in it? That would be why, is because we're full. We got water up there. So.
I talked to Highline as well. They're doing really well as a whole canal company.
Good.
I think some of the storms have helped, and I think people are trying to.
I think the citizens are doing a great
Yeah.
job.
I think some are over conserving.
Yeah.
There are a few yards out there that I'm just like, just a little bit of effort might be a little bit nicer than.
Yellow is the new green.
It is.
You know, I don't mind the yellow. I'm okay with yellow, but you can still mow them. You know, there's a difference between, no. Anyway, did you have anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, thank you. I just appreciate everything that our city does and the efforts that we make. Our staff is great. I know it's hard to see, and sometimes things take a long time, and the state comes in and tears our road out and makes it look horrible for 6 weeks, and it's really not our fault. We apologize about that. It was good to see him out there finishing it out today. I would like to move on to action items, but I'd like a motion to amend the agenda, if I could get that.
I move that we amend the agenda to change the order on several items.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I voted that time. I'd like to move to action item number 7, please. We've had a request that it be moved up for time constraints, but it still took us 50 minutes to get to it. I apologize about that. So, Michael?
So this is Payson View Estates, Phase 3. And hopefully you can see it all okay, but I'm just going to scroll through this because the applicant here and they want to share a few things as well. One in advance for me. That they are planning to build, for those of you that don't know, I'll show you some aerial images and such of the area, but there's been 2 parcels or 2 phases that have been done previously. This is the third phase. It's now under consideration. They want to do up to 360 new single-family homes in the area. So this is the concept plat map that they've proposed to us. And let me show you some aerials. So this is the area. Hopefully you can see that okay. Maybe I can move it to a slideshow and make it a little bit bigger for you. There we go. So
Give us a landmark.
in the north, up in here, if you can see my cursor, this is the tail end of, I think it's Plat H of Payson View Estates. This is, I can't remember the name of the canal right here, Highline Canal. And I believe this road coming down is Main Street. Whoops, went too far. So Payson View wants to develop south of where you can see those platted lots and those homes that are there, and east. So all of this area here, and it comes down right into some of this vicinity down in here. And that would be where those 350 homes are potentially proposed for.
This would be right in your neighborhood, right, Doug? Okay.
So as I said, I think I just said 350, it's 360 is what they're proposing on 288 acres. There's various city approvals, obviously, that they would need there. Obviously, they need approvals as well from some of those other entities such as Rocky Mountain Power, Dominion Energy, Bureau of Reclamation, the Highline Canal Company. Staff would also recommend that we have a thorough review of the annexation agreement that was adopted when this area was annexed, and making it clear what the developer and city obligations would be for this.
Okay, I have a quick question before you leave that page.
Okay.
You say 360 homes on 286 acres. How much of that is undevelopable land so that we know that it will sit stagnant forever?
So we're getting to that.
Okay.
I believe it's somewhere in the realm of about 140, maybe 160 acres, but we're getting to that.
Okay.
So there's other issues there, potential with sensitive land related issues, fault line slopes, potential landslides, protection of the ridgeline view corridor, wildland urban interface zone. Staff is also would recommend a development agreement for that area. The open space requirements for this request, they're requesting a planned residential development with this, and it would require them to dedicate the open space to the city and have conditions with that dedication. Planning Commission did give a positive recommendation for this on the 25th of May, but with their recommendation, you can see at the bottom there, their motion was to address the concerns they had with, they and the public had related to traffic and density. Those were the primary concerns, and that's what Planning Commission put into their motion when they made that positive recommendation. Staff is recommending, instead of preliminary plan approval, we're recommending preliminary layout approval. And this is allowed in our code under that. You can see that section 1246.030. Basically, it's a concept approval process. Our code doesn't allow for a concept approval, but for large developments such as this, we do have this tool to do the concept approval. And so that's what staff is recommending for this. So I'll continue on. I thought I had the number of units in there, or sorry, the number of acres that was undevelopable.
Where does that undevelopable land go?
There we go. So there you go. The buildable area is the 117 acres, unbuildables 146, and they're proposing 164 to be open space. So
does that become, do they maintain that property? Does that become Payson City's property? My concern is if it's unbuildable now and we approve it this way, thinking that will stay that way, somebody might change it down the road.
That's what-
majority of it, from what I understand, they would dedicate to the city, and it would be unbuildable. It's
Open space.
slope height, exceeding 30% slopes and things like that. So it would be unimproved open space.
Hiking
And-
trails or something on it, kind of a
and
thing.
Sorry?
Are we open for discussion yet?
Yeah.
Are you through with your presentation?
Yes,
we want-
the applicants here, they wanted to potentially share with you some of the housing designs and things like that they want to put there, because that was one of the concerns that was brought up in planning commission. But if you want to do any kind of discussion, we can do that. So
I would. I was at that planning and zoning meeting.
So was
think
I.
Yeah, so were you. And I think Brett was there for a bit of it that night.
I think I left early on
If I remember right, the approval from planning and zoning said that they wanted to see larger lots, that they needed to see
is
larger
correct.
lots. And I think I stood up in the public hearing and said, when we created that up there, Jill, you got to help me here, that we wanted nicer, bigger homes up there, 12,000 square foot lots. Is that the zone that is in?
it is in R19 and R110.
R19 and R110.
It did say R112 on there. It's, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
What's percentage, what's our breakdown? What's the R19 versus the R112? Are we a 50-50 split? Or are we?
No, it's,
You can see from the map in the bottom corner there, that's all R112. The R19 is the lighter yellow color,
Yeah.
kind of the rectangular shape just above the dark orange.
Transition from what is the current?
it already is zoned this.
Is it R19?
Yep,
It's
it's already.
already
That-
zoned R19 and R112.
Well, I'm just talking existing.
The
houses,
dark
right?
yellow is R12
R12. I
and
have a
the,
problem with that split that direction. And the 12, that's R112 is the 12,000 square foot lot.
Correct.
What does that equate to in acreage?
About a quarter acre.
It's just shy of a quarter or just over a quarter acre.
over a quarter.
So you just switched them all to square footage so that we can't catch those things.
Where's the high line?
The Highline Canal is, it's that kind of light tannish colored wiggly line that goes
It's the
through
thing without
middle.
any lines in it on the left-hand map.
Yep.
That goes diagonally from the
here.
northeast to the
See it, Teresa?
southwest.
Well, that's what I was wondering is,
So look, go over, Michael, go over to the, yeah.
So, yeah,
Yep,
it is
there's the
right.
canal.
Yeah,
It's
right
that
there.
Right there.
line, right? It's that right
Follows it
there.
down.
One concern I have with this area that, as you've brought this up, has been brought to my attention by the public. Right there on the corner of the bend, up near the top, where the Highline Canal is, you can kind of see a triangle shape on the bend to the right-hand side of it. Move your cursor so I can see if you're looking at the right spot. No, up in your
Oh, up in-
topography, yeah, your other, a
Okay.
little bit higher. Higher to the left.
My cursor doesn't want to go any further.
No, oh, now you went too far.
It wants to jump on you.
It wants to jump. Okay, well, straight up from there, there's a retention pond.
Yep.
And it has come to my attention that it's kind of a pedestrian pathway right through there. Doug, am I correct? Glenn's the one that has been making these comments to me that I'm just looking at maybe egress, ingress for pedestrians in and out of this neighborhood. There's only a couple of crossings right there, and the canal may be worth putting in something to allow them to get down to the public parks and things of that nature. I don't know. This is a little bit offset from that, but as a city, I think we need to look at that and make sure that there are ways to get down into the other part of town. Maybe for pedestrians, bikes, things like that.
Your problem with this pedestrian path is it's on a federal property. And so you have to work through the federal government to take care of that. Highline Canal runs the canal, but the
Right.
property is owned by the United
This
States.
is the federal government there. Okay.
So that's
So
your issue.
when we
is that
make-
It's restricted access to certain points.
These land crossings, I'd like to see the layout that you have, the preliminary layout and possibly the houses. So, and we can go from there and maybe see.
He's got
He got a
plat map.
layout.
He's got a plat map.
Yep.
There it is.
Okay.
That's the current layout and
there
that
is
was
a-
part of the
so-
concern is that some of
Yeah.
those were smaller lots because it is a maybe we ought to have Mr. Berg come up and talk a little bit about that because he can explain it better. He was there at the
Yes.
planning commission and I heard our concerns. there,
I
too.
was. And so just a brief review of how we came up with the 360 units. In your development ordinance, we took the 288 acres and steep slopes, areas that can't be served by the existing upper fresh water from the tank. You know, those areas will be dedicated to the city as open space, natural open space. Then we took the areas in the R9 and the R12, just times them by their densities. That gave us our maximum density. There's no density bonuses. There's no additional units. It's just what your zoning, your base zoning code allows in there. What?
This is an HOA.
No.
So engineer, I thought we were trying to get to a grid system.
Unless topography dictates.
This is a
Yeah,
this is
it's-
topography nightmare.
This is the exception to that rule.
Yes.
This is the best way to drive this road.
Yeah. The
This route.
slopes govern. And so you can see there's a linear trail that winds down through the development, kind of starting at the old Riley home and going all the way down to the canal. That follows the Rocky Mountain Power transmission line. And so we're proposing like a trailway that goes through to where those will be not just natural open space, but there will be some improvements similar to, and I always forget the name, the linear park that
When it falls
connects.
Dry Creek.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, so that can provide an important trail connection, plus other trails that get you essentially up on top into the mouth of Payson Canyon, those sort of things. And so you can see on this map the different colors. The proposed PRD lets us have a variety of lot sizes. We'll start with now I'm going to get in trouble because I only know boy colors. The purple, which are the largest lots, those are 20,000 square feet or above. So essentially half acre lots. Then we go down. So the 20,000 acre lots are at the top of the hill, the highest lots. Then we go down to the next color, that brownish, those are between 12,000 square foot lots and 20,000 square foot lots. And we go to the pinkish, those are 10 to 12. We go to the lighter brown, those are 9 to 10. Then the light blue is 8 to 9. Then the more pinkyish purple, those are 7,000 to 8,000. And then down at next to the canal, we have 6,500 to 7,000 square foot lots that are 65 feet wide by 100 feet deep. Those are the minimum lot standards in your in the PRD. And the mixture, we have 37 6,500 to 7,000 square foot lots. We have 34 half acre lots. We have 64 7,000 to 8,000 square foot lots. We have 56 12 to 20,000 square foot lots. So we're trying to keep a balance between those two to give an overall spread within the development.
I'm not having a huge problem with the lot sizes. I do love to see those great big lots up there on the hill overlooking. The little ones, it's not ideal property down against there, especially when they come through with the trail system that will cover that canal and put that trail system in. I was reminded of that as well. But the thing that I'm seeing that's thrown great big red flags to me is egress and ingress, because I mean, you've got to go through the existing neighborhood to get in and out of there. And it's not super easy.
Well, so yeah, if we zoom out just a little bit, there is a 1, 2, 3, there's a fourth point of access proposed down in the 600 area.
Right.
That road would be an additional crossing of the Highline Canal. We've
Okay.
talked with the Bureau, it meets their spacing requirements. And that road would connect to Main Street, and I don't remember the 1900.
Yeah.
You know, so ultimately, that's really the new entrance to
Right.
Payson View, this phase 3 of Payson View Estates. Instead of winding up through the existing development, this would provide that.
Okay.
And again,
if we can widen that up just a little
remember
bit.
the Highline Canal is federal.
Right.
So they dictate how many crossings there are.
Right.
So we can't go in and say we want 7 new crossings in this little stretch. 'cause
But
they
we
won't
could
allow
fight
it.
for 5 lanes across it instead of 2. But possibly wouldn't win that argument either.
Probably wouldn't win that either. So
So
we're talking the Bureau of Reclamation.
I know they're almost
Okay.
as bad as the water guys.
I work with both.
That's another thing too, with highlines. I mean, different soils, whatever it is, that could change that too.
Well, they're talking about putting it in a pipe.
I know, but if it's not in a pipe yet, it's gonna be a while before they do
Right.
that. And you have to make sure the soil is gonna be able to handle that with those houses.
Right up against it. Yep.
They've done those geological.
We've done
studies.
those hazard studies and.
Yeah,
the
they've done all that.
geotechnical
They have all that.
studies,
It was all in the
identified
packet there.
the
if you
We've done those. things.
Wanted to.
Maybe 2 weeks ago.
And it's still not working?
No, when I come here, it'll come on.
Oh.
We have anything else?
But the biggest concern with planning commission was the smaller lots, the
Smaller lots and
7,000 square foot
density.
Lots.
And density.
Yeah.
And you know what, I don't have a problem with that because that's what a lot of people want now. They would rather have a house than a yard. As
Yeah.
long as you have a green space for them to go and.
Yeah,
Right.
but we, up in that neighborhood, I mean, look at the other lots that are already platted and done. The same gentleman that was just here from Saddlebrook that don't have enough parking.
Spring Lake.
Spring Lake.
Well, he
No,
was
he was in
from
Saddlebrook.
Saddlebrook.
No, it's Spring Lake. Near Spring Lake.
That's the Saddlebrook subdivision.
On
No.
1900.
Okay. Yeah.
We're talking the
yes.
same place.
He's south of Saddlebrook in the Spring Lake subdivision.
South and west of this area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're compounding or creating the same issue right here.
Well, because those houses there are bigger houses. I
Mhm.
mean, that's. I appreciate the
I am concerned with the density. I've come to grips after seeing the floor plans that they have, the homes that they've got. I'm okay with that, but that's just a lot of density with snow removal, people parking on the street. We've already had that tonight. That I'm just voicing my concern, you guys, that
This
The concern under the base zone density, you refer that
well, but
we're
you're
like
you're
putting
going with
more
the
than-
PRD. I don't support the PRD on this.
Okay.
I just support the actual lot size of the zone.
Okay.
So I guess to answer your question, I wouldn't vote for the PRD the way it's platted right now because of the density.
Although the density doesn't exceed the zones.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And I am sympathetic to the raw property that is unbuildable. I get that. But anybody that would have bought this property would have known that to start. So I don't
It
think
actually
it
came
creates
to
a
us a long
hardship,
time
is
ago.
what
I
I'm
think that's
saying.
when we did the PRD, and that was part of it. This was big open space that would preserve the remainder of that. And do you remember that, Doug? Weren't you here when we did the original annexation of this?
This has been in the works for long.
Yeah. All right,
Any other questions for me? I'm sorry. I get to
go to American Fork.
go to
now.
American Fork. I'm making sure the police chief's gone, so. I won't speed until I'm on the freeway. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them before I leave, and then I'll let Ross talk about houses and things.
All right, let's
Thank
see
you.
the houses then.
Thanks, Ken.
Okay.
Smaller lots is actually the right place to have it.
Against that property.
Against the canal.
So you're not having multi-million-dollar houses with trails behind their houses. So let me just, I'm Ross Welch with Patterson Construction, and I want to talk about some of the homes that are going to go on these small lots. So for example, these homes, let me point out, this one right here, you see this one? And this one on the other side. Oh, you know what? That's awesome. I'm gonna use a laser pointer. And I don't even have a dog here. And so this home, this one down here, all with 3-car garages fit on those small lots. So we're able to handle parking issues because they're gonna have 3-car garages on those homes. We also have other homes like, this is other plan. This will just have 2-car garage plan fitting on it and so forth. But these are going to be nice homes. I mean, these are 3,500 square foot homes that are going to be built on 6,500 square feet. So it's, in terms of saying density, it's the point Ken's saying. In terms of your zone, it allows this density. What we look at as the landowner and developer and builder of homes is that we want to have a product that people can buy. And we want to have not just a homogeneous community of everything the same. We want diversity. That's why we're looking. We're going to have very large, we're already building on homes up there in that Plat H. I think we're going to have, and we're going to have access issues that are being, when we had the traffic study done, it showed that everything was a in terms of intersections and traffic able to handle it. One of the things we're looking at is now we're going to have over 100 and I can't remember how many acres of open space that we're going to dedicate to the city. Also, what we're going to do at that time is through our charitable supporting organization is dedicate, we're still calculating this out, it'll be a minimum of another 50,000 to do trail improvements on it. So it has value to the city with the hope of connecting to the trails on the federal lands as well, so that we can connect from what currently exists in Payson to the federal trails through this property. And so when I say it's a minimum of 50, we're going to have to see how much it is, but we think based on $7 a foot, we can easily do that and make it connect. That'd be 1.5 miles of trails to make that connection. And so we're trying to create something. We're going to have parking for that as well, so citizens can come that don't live in the area and park there and make use of the trails. So we're trying to make a community that also will have benefit to the city beyond just. So. Any other questions for me? Well, and and the ones that we're building up right now are going to be, let me see if I can show you some of those that we're currently building right now. Let's see if I can get this. Oh, it does work with my finger. So for example, we're building this home up there right now. We've got a couple others that are going up here. The Brandy's being built right now. We've got this one over here being built. So, I mean, we've got some very nice homes that were under construction in that Plat H development. So anyway.
That's the plat that's just barely north.
Yeah, pre-sold.
Yes, that's the one that's on our northeast section of it. So anyway. You don't build spec homes. Yes.
Large spec homes.
Yes, they are. Yeah, there's some, they're very good size there. That will be the next one.
That's the
That will
dog,
be
that's the
day.
doghouse.
Those are the outhouses. You know, I do know these, I knew some of these people. Sometimes it's when we're building for something. Yeah, we'll just call it that, you know, it becomes. Yeah. Brandy is she manages property for us. So anyway.
So what do those houses sell for?
Oh, isn't that the question?
Why do you
Oh,
care?
boy.
Yesterday or tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. It is.
Yesterday or tomorrow. Yeah.
I mean, original plan was they're going to be starting around 800,000. Right? So that, but as we're seeing prices, as you know, are dropping, and hopefully we can get material costs to come down to where we can get enough, something that fits a little bit more in the marketplace. But yeah, these homes up there are going to be pretty pricey because they're spectacular lots. They're beautiful view lots up there. So anyway.
For the Rileys moving.
They should have moved before we tore their house up. But anyway, no, not yet. They're still there. Chris and Alan?
Alan.
Yes.
up above.
Yes, they're still there. They're still there.
That he's gonna stay there.
Yes. Well, so far they say they are. Anyway. All right. Any other discussion? I'm ready to entertain a motion.
I have one more discussion. Sorry, I was still looking. So staff is recommending
Essentially a concept.
a concept plan.
Preliminary layout approval, which doesn't vest any rights or anything, but it allows them the opportunity to then proceed forward and then start phasing the project to kind of eat the elephant in bites, so to speak.
It sounds like tomato kind of thing. Preliminary or whatever. All right. Anybody would care to take that motion? Joe would like to take this motion. Would you like to interject something here, Joe? The floor is still open, so.
You've been doing this.
I've been involved with Payson View Estates for a lot of years,
For many, many years.
for many, many years. And it just goes back to Mayor Pro Tem, your just comment, tomato. It is different. And so I did want to make a clarification because preliminary layout approval still provides a lot of flexibility for this body and for staff to work with the applicant to get down to the level of detail needed to address some of the issues that have been discussed tonight. Preliminary plan approval, like was mentioned, like Michael mentioned, is vesting. It's use density configuration. That's what you see is what you get. That's why we support the preliminary layout, because then it provides us to get more information from the staff. We start looking at lighting. We start looking at turnarounds. We look at, do any of the configurations of the lots need to change because of topography or because of a geotechnical issue or whatever else it is. So it's still, it gives the applicant assurance that they generally, this is how it's going to be laid out. You're okay with the variety, the range of lots. Okay. The open space of incorporating the open space. Open space would be dedicated to the city. We could incorporate a trail system. Still a lot of details that need to be done. But he's got to have the assurance to go to that next level on such a large project and then understanding the market and everything. And so it's, yes, we're generally okay with this. Now work out the details, come back with those smaller phases and answer all those questions. The applicant knows he's not going to develop this entire project in the next year, the next 5 years. It could even be longer than that. Preliminary layout also allows him the flexibility to work with the market on the timing of that as well. Preliminary plan approval expires in 1 year.
Yeah.
And so we'd be back here every year saying we need an extension or we need it. So there's a lot of benefits for that. But yes, there's a lot of things that have not been answered yet, but we've got to probably do that at a smaller scale. But at this point, they need some direction to allow them to continue to answer those questions. Is that fair enough?
Okay, so we are looking for a preliminary layout for Payson View Estates Plat C.
They're requesting preliminary plan. Staff is suggesting preliminary layout.
No, they're requesting preliminary plan.
They're
Right.
requesting
See,
So, but that's, I'm just trying to think how to word the motion.
I'll make one.
All right. Oh, I'm ready to entertain a motion.
And sit there till he makes it, so.
Okay.
I move that we follow the staff's recommendation of approving preliminary layout approval in order that the developer and the engineers can work on it and get us preliminary plans on individual smaller parcels that make sense and work together.
For the
Fine.
Payson View Estates.
For the
Plat
Payson
C.
View Estates plat, for the Payson View Estates, not Plat C, Payson View Estates, the whole development, that we give preliminary layout approval, and that finding that it does meet the requirements of the zones associated with this area.
Okay. Does that work, Kim? All right. Do I have a second?
Do we need to add anything else, Jill?
I think we covered.
I would just clarify, this is phase 3
Yeah.
of
Phase 3 of the
Okay.
Payson View Estates.
Do I have a second on the preliminary layout for Payson View Estates Phase 3? For that motion?
I'll second it.
I have a second from Councilwoman Carter. All right. Let's go ahead and vote. Roll call vote. Councilman Beecher,
Yes.
Councilwoman Carter,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen, yes. Councilwoman Hyatt, Councilman Prosgard.
No.
All right. Majority has it. It passes. Okay. Anything else? We're good with that one. Moving on to item number 1. Action item for resolution for appointment of new planning commission members and oath of office. And then we will come back to you, Michael. Sorry. The mayor would like to present Jim Rowland as a new member of our planning commission. And we need to, can I get a motion on that? Is there a council discussion?
I'm tickled to death. I'll just make the motion.
Well, I'll tell you, just when we were there discussing it and we had to pick and choose, it was like, okay, we've got one candidate to fill the council seat and 2 or 3 candidates to fill the commission seat. And so we were more than happy to find willing people to serve. So thank you, Jim.
I'd make a motion that we approve Jim Rowland as planning commissioner, planning and zoning commissioner.
To
Gonna-
replace me for the remainder of my term.
Okay, to replace council or Chair Beecher. Let's say, I won't say chair because they'll probably want to appoint a new one.
All right.
Oh.
They already have.
Board member, chair member, what's
commissioner.
former planning commissioner Beecher to fulfill the remainder of his term.
Which is now until April, and at which point in time Jim will have to reapply for the position.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so Councilman Beecher on the second and a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Prosgard,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hyatt.
Yes.
Councilman Christensen, yes. Councilwoman Carter,
Yes.
Councilman Beecher.
Yes.
All right, unanimously passed. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to run.
We're going to swear him in.
We're going to go ahead and swear him in.
Kim's got to do that.
I was getting to that point. It's written right here somewhere.
I do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
And you got to come shake her hand.
Hi, Doug.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Jim. Welcome. Appreciate it.
Dave, I'm sorry, we didn't make it by 7 o'clock. All right, we're gonna do action items 2, 3, and 4 concurrent. They will be voted on individually, but we will have them presented to us now by Michael.
They're out of order in my presentation. Sorry.
That's what concurrent means.
So this is for Mount Loafer Flats. They are requesting these 3 items, a zone change to R17.5, the RMO1 overlay, and preliminary plan. So those would be the 3 action items for tonight. This is the property. You can see it's just across from the hospital, these 2 parcels. And I'll skip to the next so you can see what's being proposed.
You know where that is, Linda?
That's where the new flower shop was just built.
I worked there for a long time. I know Larry. Scott, quit laughing.
Wasn't this LC Postcards? Wasn't this LC Postcards property?
I don't know.
Was, wasn't it? Yeah.
So these are the 2 parcels. He is requesting that the property on the south end closest to 198 remain the same, which is zoned commercial now. And then the property on the north end remain the same, which is I1. And so only this yellow highlighted area would get the rezone if it's approved. There was the public hearing on this on the 29th, and it was advanced to the city council with a positive recommendation. There was a few comments on that we wanted to share with the council, though. But let me backtrack a little bit just to make sure I'm covering everything. So like I said, the current zoning is the GC1 general commercial and the light industrial. Those are the things that they're seeking. We talked about this. So the first of those, the RMO1 overlay, they're seeking this not to build 2-family homes, but to do a planned residential community. And the community would be for a 55+ community. All of the units would be single-family homes.
Can we change those to 65+? Because 55 is creeping up a little too quick. I'm starting to feel old. I apologize to the rest of the people on this up here, but
You're gonna have to change the terminology.
Grave you don't want to.
yeah, 55+ community, we'll stick with that.
Maybe we need to unappoint you.
Some details for the preliminary. One of the biggest concerns in planning commission was the connection to the sewer system. What's being proposed, you can see this blue line. This blue line is in the development, and then it would connect to the existing 55+ community here. And then they would share a sewer line and then go out to a lift station here that is currently built. With that, the residents in this 55+ community would be asked to help with the cost to attach and create that sewer infrastructure to the lift station. But then after that, they would no longer need to utilize the lift station that's approximately right here. And from what I understand, fails and has trouble and such right now. So.
Most reliable.
Yep.
That's a crappy job.
It is a crappy job.
So this is the lot layout that's being proposed. 20 units here and here with the road coming in. It would be buffered with, I believe it's a masonry fence. Is that right, Scott? So a masonry fence here on the south end, separating the commercial use from the homes, and then a masonry fence along here, separating the storage units in that area to the north. So some of the public hearing comments were listed here so that you can see what the public had concerns with. And we met with Scott Phillips and we addressed these with him. And so these are the answers that we got. You can see will the new lift station replace the private lift station? Yes. Will there be access to the storage units from the subdivision? And that answer is no. A lot of people were concerned that right in here or even up in here, I believe, they were concerned whether or not there would be access getting into the storage units. And that answer is no. Will there be a cost to existing subdivisions to connect? And that answer is yes. They would need to help participate in those infrastructure costs to connect.
Is that like individually, would that be like a PID or would it be, how would they go about that? Is it done through the HOA?
I don't know how that would be. Scott, do you have answers on how they would participate, or would it just be individually, or? That's true. So there is two.
The HOAs would be where that governing body would be intersecting that. Yeah. No, I'm trying to protect the citizens just to make sure that they're not just gonna end up with a bill coming in on a fixed income saying, hey, this is where we're at, where, I know that they're part of an HOA is something that the HOA will take care of. No, I'm not arguing the benefit. I'm in agreement that if you've got a faulty piece of equipment and you can bypass it, the HOA should be responsible to cover it. And that's what they're there for. And this is one of those times when they work, but I just wanted to make sure that we weren't creating a PID or whatever would. Okay. All right.
Will the wetlands to the north be affected? No. Will there be fencing around the storage units? The answer is yes. Will a fence be installed in between the subdivisions? So the answer to this is no, and several people were of a concern, but the reason why there is a no to this question is originally this was planned to potentially be additional storage units. And so it would be a buffer between those homes and the storage units. But now that since the request is similar development to the homes, Mr. Phillips is not proposing to put a fence there.
Isn't there currently a wood fence between?
I want to say it's yeah, something like that.
I'll participate if they want to put up another one. It's not my fence.
Wood fence is 30 years old.
But it's 3 feet on their property. To me, it would look nicer. We talked about it, was having it gone away. It'd be just a nice open space between the two developments.
Yeah.
I think the development fits the area. I mean, I don't know why anybody would ever argue this is better than storage units. Gives them a buffer.
And I don't think there was so much argument there, is just wanting to get clarification and understanding. Yeah.
It's just a question. I think the linear footage actually increased by doing what we did, because it will go on the back side of the west side of any of it. So that's the map. So lots 1 through 9 will have a fence behind them.
From between them and the storage units that are already existing.
So it's separate views.
What's up there by 9 and across the street from 20? What are those little boxes? That's just public parking. I like to see that. We can keep them off the road during the snowplow season.
It seems like we've addressed that tonight.
There, yeah, from what I understand, there would be, I think they're 2-car garages, right? So with the 2-car garages, it would also have that, the driveway, it would be 4 stalls basically per housing unit.
The other, Rosewood and the other, they don't have anybody that really parks on the street. And I know they had a concern about board, they had a concern about increased traffic, but to me, the current HOA will probably use that road more than their existing road, because that way they can get to the light and make a left-hand turn.
Instead of going out to the highway, they can go to the light.
They can get to the post office as well without having to go to the main highway. All right, any other discussion? All right. I'm ready to move on. I think this is a great use of the land. Be good to see it used. I like the little flower shop. I thought it was really cute. Popped up out there in front, kind of start that as a commercial business there in the same area. So, all right. Am I good to move this to motion?
Yes, but you'd have to do those motions in
Yes.
order because they're contingent upon.
The one, two has to go before.
They
All
follow.
right. So I'm open for a motion on number 2, Mount Low for flat subdivision zone change from an I1 light industrial zone to an R1 7.5 residential zone at 1100 East and 100 North.
So
Since
moved.
you read it, so moved.
So moved.
Do I have a
I was gonna
second?
say, I wasn't going to repeat it.
All right, I have a first from Councilman Prosgard and a second from Councilwoman Hyatt. I need a roll call vote on this. So let's start with Councilman Beecher,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hyatt Carter,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen, yes, Councilwoman Hyatt, Councilman Prosgard.
Yes.
All right, so moved it unanimous vote. Let's go to action item number 3. Do you want me to read that one or do you want to read that one?
I will. I was just reading one more thing there. Any problems, Scott, with state giving you an access on the 198?
Well, we were just talking about that. There's some business out there that's interested in relocating, and I was just asking you guys to talk to. But we would probably, on that back side of the commercial, probably make it so that they could access the backs of it also.
Off of 200 North.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd have 200 north plus.
Plus the
so you'd
highway.
have 2 points of egress either way.
Because there's that yellow shit on the corner. and
Yeah.
That entrance, yeah, it's not a good one. It's
Right.
supposed to stop like, so, like maybe get rid of that one and move it farther down.
Move it further east and then, or north there, and yeah,
Further east.
east, yeah.
So I would make a motion that we approve the request of the RM1 two-family residential overlay to support a planned residential community known as the Mount Loafer Flats subdivision located at 1100 East and 100 North.
Second.
All right, so first from Councilman Prosgard and second from Councilman Beecher. Now, this isn't, just for public record, it wasn't proposed as 2-family units. It's just the RM01 overlay in order to facilitate the housing that's there.
We went to an R175.
Yeah. All right. All in favor?
That's roll call.
No, well, only if it says required. She gave me liberty with that. Kim did great. All in favor? Yes. All right, so clarification to that, Councilman Prosgard, if I know I'm going to get a negative in there, I usually will do a roll call vote. That's why the other one was roll call.
Well, mate, you never know.
I did, well, I could see the smile on your face. I was good to go. All right, action item number 4. We have a motion on that one.
I move that we approve the preliminary and final plats for the Mountain Loafer Estates subdivision located at 1100 East and 100 North.
I'll second.
I'll
I'll let Linda Carter second that. Is that what you were going to say?
let her second it and then I want
All right.
discussion.
All right. I have a first by Councilman Beecher, a second by Councilwoman Carter. Do we have any discussion?
Yes. I just would add that we would add meeting staff recommendations.
I'll accept that modification.
Councilwoman
motion.
Carter.
Yes.
All right. All in favor?
Yes.
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 Thanks, but I just did have to go back and redo it. All right, action item number 5. Michael, you still have the floor on this one. FV, that's Freedom Vapors condominium plat located at 1568 West, 800 South.
So this is the existing Freedom Vapors building. As stated, 1568 West, 800 South. They're currently in the business park development zone and they're requesting to condominiumize their building.
To clarify that, Linda, that means that they can actually sell a portion of their building. Okay, just
The landscaping has not been done at that location. And so staff is recommending as a condition of approval that that's done. From what staff understands, they have bonded for that, but it has not been done yet.
Oh, sure, look nice if we got it.
So this is kind of the vicinity for you. You can see this is the parcel there off of 800 South. And this is the building with what the 4 units would look like separated.
So on a condominium, if I'm not mistaken, Robert, they have to have a common wall dedication with firewall in between each one and up through the structure. On a condominium, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Does that meet the requirements? It would have to be cinder block
Then
clear
I
to the
guess it-
top or
No,
fire.
it don't have to be cinder block.
No,
but
it just has to be. there
Be
has to a
fire
physical-
rated.
Fire
there has to be
rated.
Fire rated and a physical separation.
Yep, physical separation.
Even though the fascia can go across it.
Right.
It's already been built that way.
Has it?
Yeah, it's already built that way. They just didn't condominiumize it to begin with.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I think that all Bob is saying is we probably need to put that as a
As
condition
part
of
the
it.
motion.
Because
That it
if it
meets the
does come back and it
condominium
doesn't meet those criteria, then they have to meet those criteria. They'll have to go in and remodel it and finish the walls.
Why don't I just make a motion then? Okay.
Okay, perfect.
I'd make a motion that we approve the FV condominium plat located at 1568 West, 800 South as presented, provided they meet the condominium ordinance, fire marshal approval, and building inspector approval, and
And-
finish the landscaping. Do I want to say, we've got a bond, should I say prior to recordation of the plat?
Yeah,
That's my motion.
I would second that.
All right. Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Prosgard, a second by Councilman Beecher, and all in favor?
Oh, yes.
Aye.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. Okay, number 6.
Did you want to announce it or do you want me to?
No,
just-
well, I'm just trying to think. Well, I just keep looking at this list and I'm just wondering how you get all of it.
Well, I see Travis, you'll come in a minute.
Oh, yeah. All right, Michael, will you, the Red Ridge Business Center condominium plat?
So a similar situation as the Freedom Vapors. However, these units are not built yet.
Right. This is vacant land.
So just to
At least
put you
portion of
in
it.
perspective, 1693 West American Way, presently on the site is where Cornaby's is. And so they're proposing to build around
Additional.
Cornaby's and behind Cornaby's additional units and then condominiumize those.
As light industrial, as commercial?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
All the above?
Meets the zoning. And my
It will
understanding
meet
is
the-
Cornaby's is taking over the whole building and they're kicking out their tenants. So they're building them new places to move their tenants to.
Yes, it would meet the requirements of the business park
Okay.
zone. So
Is that?
yeah, they're not requesting any changes as far as
Okay.
that goes. So you
There's
can see
adequate parking and everything.
it does. Yeah, it would meet that. So they're seeking an additional 95,000 square feet of additional built out area. Staff had some concerns with design elements, which we've come to some resolutions with the applicants and we're okay with now what they've proposed. And engineering was requiring a 6-inch 6-inch sewer lateral for this. There's 2 units that'll be in the central part of this.
Right.
And Cornaby's is going to take those. So staff wants them to put a 6-inch sewer lateral in there.
There goes more sewer connections, Travis, down there that we
So-
didn't plan on.
So this is all of the parcels that would be affected. And that's the layout of what they're proposing with the individual units.
Which ones are existing?
These are existing.
That one
here.
right there.
And then aren't those down there across the bottom as well, or they're there?
No, just maybe that corner one's right
I
there.
think that these might be existing too.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
corner ones and that one along the one side. It's all
Okay.
existing.
So are they gonna match on the design elements? Are they gonna match the Cornaby's building, or are we gonna get maybe just a little bit more fluff?
We talked about that with them, and no, they don't want to match it because that was done in the 90s. But we told them that we need to have design elements that will actually help it incorporate together. And so it'll flow.
We could put lipstick on the one too, if they want.
So they have proposed some designs that are
Just modify the outside of the one to match the new, if that's where they're at. I mean, I'd really hate to take the one down to get the other one, but that's up to them, as long as they meet your
They
criteria.
are willing to do some colors and some similar design features and such to make the whole development blend.
Okay.
So
So do we have 2 or 3 points of egress?
There's 2. One at the top and one at the bottom. Currently, there's only
It's-
one.
No, there'd be 3.
Yeah, there's
There's one off of, well,
one there.
no, there's not one off the railroad right away. There's just the 2. And you need to have them that far away from the blind
End of the road.
intersection.
Yeah, yeah.
Or from the blind corner there.
Especially with the other road headed out the other direction.
Right.
Right
You
there.
can't put one there at the,
So they both dump onto American Way.
well, they do
Yeah.
both go into American Way.
There's
Just one
they're a long ways
north and
away.
One on the west.
Yeah. Okay.
Would this require the expansion of American Way to 5 lanes? Where it runs, isn't it currently just 2 to the west of the existing buildings?
I believe
Would
so,
this-
Travis, this isn't calling for expansion or anything, right? I don't think that's.
Or is it the other side of the road that would be responsible to make American Way wider?
Yeah.
No,
it's-
because that old brown house is to the west of where it says American Way right there. This is. All right, so that's what I'm saying. I'd like to see that head towards the 5 lanes, but I think it's that house that's the one that's responsible for that if they. Okay, yeah. You wouldn't want to add a bedroom to that house. I know, but it
He
would
rented it,
require the
right?
upgrade. That's what I'm saying.
He's renting it right now. Stan Goodrich.
Oh.
He doesn't live there anymore.
Okay, are we good? Anything else that you'd like to discuss? Can we entertain a motion?
Nope. Staff recommends approval.
Okay, I'm excited for this. I think that the industrial park is about to explode and it'll all be good. All right,
I move that we approve the Red Bridge Business Center condominium plat located at 1693 West American Way, as long as they meet all of the staff conditions and concerns.
I'll second that.
all right, all in favor?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, all right, we're up for Travis. Number 8. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Ordinance for amendments to Title IV Public Utilities regarding water.
So Mayor Pro Tem and Council, this one is our consultant Hanson Allen and Luce looked at our water rights, and we have quite a bit more than what we currently obviously use. So they recommended to not get ourselves in trouble that we quit requiring culinary water until we get to, and Dave and I have come up with it. Once we hit 80% use of our allocation, then we'll go back to requiring it again until we get down again so that we don't get in trouble. So that's all we're doing is just fixing that so that we could memorialize that so we can not require the culinary water with every development until we hit that point.
And it doesn't impact the secondary. It's
No.
It's just the.
Yeah, we will still require secondary water with all development, but just not culinary for now.
Why
Well,
would
I-
we not keep a surplus?
Well, we
It's
have,
against
we
state
have
law.
almost twice as much as we currently use.
It's against state law.
Can't we just transfer it into one of the wells?
No, we can't get rid of water rights as a city.
Yeah, they're
Period.
in all our wells. We can only take so much technically out of each well, but all of our water rights we distribute throughout those wells when we do. it.
I guess my question is so I thought we had done this and required that all new homes purchase our water rights.
That
And
is for the PI.
can't we do the same with the culinary? So that the new development is, we are using that as a benefit to impact. I feel like as a current resident, all these water rights were bought and taken, and with PI, we're talking clean versus pressurized water, but it kind of was a hostile takeover at one point in time. I would like to see our infrastructure maybe receive a little bit of a benefit from this, sell our water rights to new developments so that we can build an additional water tower up higher or sink a new well. Do we not? Can't we require that?
Can't prove out the rights.
Yeah, so if we can show that the city purchased the water, they gave us the surplus.
We can.
And we look back, I didn't do an accountant type survey, but I couldn't see anything back there going back to the 90s that the city actually paid for the water. If we had receipts and things that showed that we bought the water that gave us a surplus, you bet we could charge.
Okay, so my question is can we amend our impact fees so that culinary water now has an increased impact fee until we meet that 80% criteria? So that instead of $5,000 as an impact to connect to the water, it's now $10,000. Okay, let's do the study.
We are currently updating all of our impact fees, but not necessarily for that reason.
But I think that's,
We are updating them all.
I think that's a great way to do it. Their impact is based on infrastructure, not water, and we're giving them the water. I
We
don't
can
think we need
ask
to give it away.
Councilman who is updating those to see if that's legal and find out.
Well, if I came up with the idea, it's obviously not.
So think this thing out for a minute. We've had developers bring in culinary water rights up until tonight. And now we're gonna so they have to go buy it and bring it to us and turn it in as part of their development.
Actually, no.
Now we're gonna, okay, actually, no.
That was, we found this out a couple months ago. And so Debbie has been instructed not to take those rights. Then we cease taking water.
But what about us that did a few years ago?
Yeah.
Those
Sorry.
rights, yes.
No, I'm just,
We did take those rights and we are fine. Currently where we are okay. We can keep those rights. There's no issue. But
I'm not worried about
what
the-
Bruce is telling us is we cannot collect more because we will exceed what we currently have. That's the reason why we can't do it.
Yeah, but we paid for it. When my house was built, we paid for the water rights.
Correct.
When the house next door was,
In the past,
I'm just trying to make this fair for our citizens. I think we need to adjust the impact fee until we go back to,
Life isn't fair.
I don't care if it's fair or not. I mean, we need water main. My water pressure drops, I want mine gridded in and tied together. So my culinary water is in need of work right now.
so how much are we talking here? In shares? Well, I think on our culinary water, we're using about 50% of what we have. Okay, so.
How many water shares do we have?
Let's take the Red Bridge guys that had to go out there and drill a well. Now all of a sudden, we're saying you don't need to, we got plenty of water?
No, it has nothing to do with the water volume. It has to do with the water rights. So
Got
we,
it. They had to
Yeah,
have
but
the
they had
rights
to
to
buy the
drill
water
that
rights to
well.
drill that.
I get that part of it, but they
we
had the
haven't
water
transferred
rights,
any water rights to that well yet.
but they did.
No, nobody
didn't.
has. They drilled it, but they got permission from the state to drill it, but we don't associate the rights until it's actually functioning.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so I just don't want to dump all of our rights into there and Redbridge walks away with that
Windfall.
situation, with that windfall. If they have to buy 3,000 acre feet of water, or they need to pay.
That will be our well. It's not an issue of Payson City's well.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the developer doesn't have to pay for it.
Well, we're
That's
just
not
trying to
fair.
be legal with what our consultants told
I
us.
know.
so-
And so that's why I'm
We
saying
gotta
we need to
think this
adjust
thing
the
out a little
impact
bit.
fees to
Does-
connect to our
does-
culinary water. It needs to go up.
I do. I think,
I've got the state law right here. I can forward to you.
no,
I want to be
I
in
get the
compliance
state
with the
law.
state law. I don't think we should take any more water. I just don't think we should give it away. I think that if you want to connect to Payson City culinary water until we meet that legal criteria, we're not selling them the water rights. We're adjusting our impact fees to connect to culinary.
It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to
Right.
do with the water right.
Right. It doesn't, but that's why I'm saying
The impact fee has to do with infrastructure, not water right.
right.
But-
Period. You
but
can't
if you look
associate
at the
two.
bottom
They
line-
don't- They don't correlate. They
I know,
don't-
but
They don't mix, they don't match, they don't earn anything.
So-
Don't argue with me on that because it's not, you can't
Okay.
do that.
I know. No. I'm not arguing with you,
Water
Kurt.
rights and infrastructure are two entirely different things and they do not mix.
They don't mix. Is what I'm trying to say is if you had to buy $5,000 worth of water to build a $500,000 house, and Payson City says you no longer have to buy that, that house becomes $495,000. So for the next 5 years, those people get a $5,000 discount on the construction of their home because they're not having to buy water rights. I don't think that's fair for everybody else that's had to buy the water rights. I'm just saying the bottom line becomes the same cost out the door.
Yes, but we can't do it by impact fees.
Right.
You can't do it with impact fees. So that idea, you've got to get out of your head. You can't do it with impact fees.
So let me ask you this, Kurt. So they've drilled the well out there.
Uh-huh.
When they start pumping the water,
When we start pumping the water,
when we start.
it's
pumping
our
the
water right.
Okay,
All they did is pay for the infrastructure.
okay,
Yeah.
They never paid
Okay.
for the water.
No, but that's
It's
where
our
we're gonna
water
pull
right
our
that we
water.
already had. We already
are
needed.
we
we
gonna
already
sell,
owned
are we
the
gonna
water.
sell those water rights to them
Buy it from us?
when they come in to
We
buy?
can't sell those because we didn't pay for
We
them.
can't sell water rights. The city, once they get a water right, it's theirs forever.
Red Bridge is a little bit of a different situation because they've paid an impact fee by drilling the well.
I was just
Was
using them as
I
an
know,
example.
But can we have a work session? Are we okay to table this and have this conversation? Because I think this is a little bit more heated and where we're under current trouble on our PI from people getting mad at us. I think we need to
Well, the
really
PI,
make
and
sure
that's
we're
that's the
clear.
other thing. The PI.
They
two
are
totally
different,
separate
but you
issues.
know what? Those people don't see them differently.
and I
You
had
say
to explain
water,
that.
water's water.
I had to
and
explain that to a resident just last night. That,
Yeah.
That the PI and the area and the culinary are two totally separate things and they can't be associated together. I think he finally understood, but it's going to take a lot of education.
It is. It's a lot of education. And all I'm trying to do is come up with a way that we can legally protect everything and make it fair.
I understand.
And it may not end up being fair, but
But-
we may just have to take it in the shorts, but
impact fees cannot be the way to do it.
That's correct.
But if our current infrastructure needs, if we need to take that in the back of
It's
our
different-
minds and
that's a
change
different
our,
issue.
Can I make a motion?
And we can't
Yes.
use impact fees for current infrastructure.
That's right.
I would make a motion that we table ordinance amendments to Title IV Public Utilities regarding water and ask for more clarification on what we can do legally in the best interests of the citizens of Payson and the water.
do we get a second on
I'll
that?
second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, yes.
Yes.
Does this require a roll call vote? Because it was
unanimous.
tabled. Okay, so when you come back to that comment, being a citizen that lives in the old part of town on a city block that has, in the last 10 years, will have 5 new houses tie into old infrastructure. I don't know how that argument comes into play as whether or not impact fees can pay for
Because it's illegal to
infrastructure.
spend impact fees on existing infrastructure and deficiencies. You can only do it if you're upsizing, and then you can only spend impact fees on the upsize.
Yep.
Right, so for instance,
But if
where
you're just
my.
Upsizing it to 8-inch and replacing it, you can't do impact fees
No.
because you're not doing it as a upsize to the.
Okay, no, that makes sense, but like, for instance, the water line between 4th East and 5th East on 3rd North doesn't connect across the grid system because it crossed a ditch and they didn't go across it.
Yeah, it would still be an existing deficiency. You couldn't.
So that would be an existing deficiency despite the fact
Brings
that,
back some
Yeah,
clarification.
I'll get Hanson
Yeah.
all this to go.
And
Well, the
do that.
next one, hopefully I'll let Brenda know.
okay, number 9, the best one, the last one. Amendments to Title 11 Public Facility Standards, Section 04 of Streets and Sidewalks.
Hopefully this one goes smoother, but this one, we were just cleaning up the ordinance to be consistent with the development guidelines and, you know, some stuff that was outdated in it. So we just went and fixed some of the text in it and that to just clarify that and clean it up. So there's not anything really specific to go over. It's just cleaning up.
So if
some of the-
if a tree's on the bad list and it's already there, do you have to take it out?
No, well, we could technically, but we won't.
Okay.
Now, what, so I don't know. I mean, I didn't read all of this. I'm not gonna lie. I've been kind of busy, but when you say streets and sidewalks, so he says a bad tree. I mean,
There's-
I mean,
We
there is some
clarified what kind
fudge.
of trees should go in the planter strips, so people quit planting trees that get 50 feet high and hang all over, that we have to go and
Okay,
do the city butchering that, you know, we don't trim it so it looks nice. We just go and do a straight cut and then people.
They
complain.
trim it like the power company does.
yeah,
The
my
power
mom
company
has one of
just
those trees.
Chops the crap out
So
of
we
it.
wanted to clarify, these are what are allowed,
So
these are
why would
one.
we want to, like the new subdivisions down there, at Spring Creek, they put in trees that are gonna take the sidewalk and buckle them.
Yeah, and that still becomes an enforcement issue, because who inspects that?
Well, I know that my son-in-law went and took his out because he doesn't want to have a buckling there. And he's over that kind of stuff in another city. He sees what those trees do.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
Lehigh City is just to get those things out of here because they're tired of fixing the sidewalks. So why do we allow that? Jill at Spring Creek, they put in those crappy trees that will literally take up the sidewalk.
This hopefully won't.
This will remedy that
These,
problem.
a lot of these trees are listed here, the kind you're talking about with shallow roots. But cause the issue.
It is also a problem. Somebody buys a house and goes out there and plants a tree that they want and don't ever look at the ordinance. Is there a caveat in there that kind of protects the city if somebody plants a tree and it upheaves it or leaves a Chinese elm to grow on its own, doesn't maintain it? Who pays to fix that?
If they start buckling the sidewalk,
We have to fix it.
well,
No.
we can fix it, but we can also build it.
Right.
I
Okay.
don't, so why wouldn't we just?
Because
tell
we
them-
do own, we do own.
With this
property.
does say that.
Why wouldn't we just tell them which trees are not gonna mess up the?
This
That's
ordinance.
That's what the
This
list
ordinance
does.
does.
Ordinance
That's what the
does
list is doing.
Okay.
that. Yeah.
And as you know, they don't very often ask if that's what they.
No,
should
they
say.
don't.
Well, most people don't even replace them because they're not. gonna spend a couple $100 to do
Development
it.
should be where.
Yeah,
they
that's,
catch that.
that's where I think.
And development should present some sort of landscaping plan. And when they do that, they should be able to list the amount of trees, what kinds they are, so that our people can say, no, that tree doesn't work. You gotta get one of these lists.
Well, we should be, as their street department goes, they're in charge of a lot of those maintenance on those corridors. They should be watching that kind of stuff. But I know we're short staffed there as well as everywhere else, but. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve this.
I'll make a motion that we approve the amendments to Title 11 Public Facility Standards, Section 4, Streets and Sidewalks.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Okay, I have a second from Councilwoman Hyatt. This calls for a roll call vote. Councilman Beecher,
Yes.
Councilwoman Carter,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen, yes, Councilwoman Hyatt,
Yes.
Councilman Prosgard.
Yes.
All right, this is passed. Anybody would like to make a motion for adjournment?
Do we need anything else? Dave, we good? We're good.
This was a
I-
lively-
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you, Kurt.
I'll second it.
I have a first and a second from Beecher and Carter, and all in favor? Aye.
Yes.
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 Whatever you want to call it.
Started that.